Hello and welcome to ETCIO TV. Today I have a very special guest with me, Mr. Jayanta De Silva, Secretary to the Ministry of Technology, Government of Sri Lanka. And today we really hope to find out how this extremely beautiful and this small country, how it's moving towards being digitally inclusive, how is it ensuring economic resurgence amid all the adverse circumstances that we have at present across the world. And we will also try to find out the blueprint of how the island nation is moving towards the goal of being digitally inclusive and becoming one of the most modern countries of the present era.
Hi, good to know
And
you.
I really wanted to understand your perspective on, what are the major challenges that you foresee lie in your way?
Yeah, the biggest challenge is actually the capacity, the people's capacity, because actually not only us, not only this government, to be very honest, successive governments in the past 20 years did understood that technology or digitizing is the answer, because I didn't touch most of the corruption or any other shortcomings in our part of the world can easily be counterattacked having a very good systems, because you don't have to visit. There is a lot of transparency happening and people could work from home. And so this can, even in India, some of the states have done wonderfully well, I know, because thus making people, right, giving them the facility at their doorstep. So this is something that we also value and respect. We are coming from private sector, and we know, now that I'm in the government at this moment, I know how difficult it is to push something in the government versus in the private sector. But coming as private sector, we are also trying our very best to ensure that all these projects take off the ground and it stays above the ground. Because some of these projects actually were good, but it never sort of sustaining. These projects have been a big challenge. And one reason is actually the capacity, the projects not being owned by the end user. When it's not owned by the end user, right, the project gradually, it goes down the drain. So here we are actually training 500 government officers and calling them chief digital information officers. So they are all well qualified government officers who can easily be trained. So we are training them and giving them the ownership of all these solutions so that they would actually take on and carry on the projects. Because these are not difficult things to do, but it's a matter of, not owning. So this digital ID card, which is very similar to Indian Aadhaar, would enable, it's going to be the base product that we would have. This will integrate. So we are coming with a new concept called Sling number, which is actually the Sri Lanka identification number, which actually will connect a person's birth to death. And then we'll have a digital docket, which would comprise of all this information. So it's going to be a hard process, but we have already started recruiting people, training people, and you won't believe that funds have not been the major obstacle. The major obstacle is the thinking of the people. Right now, whenever they start using, they would see the value of all this. So other than this, we are also computerizing the railway, the bus, the health, the education. So everything we are doing, but during this small time, I didn't say. People are very surprised that we are doing. I had a meeting with World Bank yesterday, and they said they have never seen a country in such progress in technology in the region. Because India, of course, is matured. So you all have already come out of that. But compared to many other countries, we are well ahead, to be very honest. And these technoparks, which we are building, are going to be very, very unique. It's a home environment, but we are not going to confine this to the technopark. We are going to build a huge town around it with universities, with other amenities, so that people will live there. We are going to build a huge apartments, the chalets, everything. So these are being done by private sector. The government is not spending money, but we are going to be collaborative partners with them. So I think you have the right attitude and the right strength to go on. I think we as, are part of the world, our people are quite strong to do this. Now it's a time for us to do, I think. So hopefully, I think we can do it within the next 3 years.
Absolutely wonderful words coming from you, Mr. De Silva, and I really hope, and I'm sure that Sri Lanka will really emerge as one of the most modern countries of the world. Now, so just continuing with this conversation, Mr. De Silva. So, do you think? I mean, geopolitically speaking, in the list of Asian countries that we have in the vicinity, where do you see Sri Lanka in, say, about 10 years from now?
Actually, when you really compare the countries, is not what we actually initially want. But, we are a small country. We are just 20 million people. We have huge assets, huge values in the country, but we don't have much natural assets, I would say. We don't have gas, we don't have petrol, but our strength is our people. So, one of the key areas that we can do well is actually in the IT BPM sector. Today, actually, we are doing, compared to India, a lot of people try to compare us with India. We can never be India. India is a huge country, 1 billion people. You are doing magnificently well in this area. But I will tell you one thing. If we do $10 billion in the IT BPM sector exports, we become a rich country. It's like, a family with 10 children and a family with 1 child, right? So, it's so easy for us. But in India, you always have big numbers. So people ask me whether I can do like India. No, I don't want to do that. If I can do 10 billion, right? And when I do 10 billion, imagine the number of people involved in this. So we are not targeting this, like India, we are not going to target 300 billion, 400 billion. This is out of it. We can't do that. But we are going into niche markets. So compared to that, right, what we are trying to do is by about 10 years from now, we want the IT BPM sector to be the #1 exporter in this country. Even today, the tea industry is a 150 years old industry. But we have overtaken tea today, right? So tea we push tea down from, we are doing better than tea. So we want, our strength is our people. I work for a Swedish company, and I know I've traveled almost in all the countries of our company. We are as good as anyone. We have 1,500 people in our company, which are very small numbers if you compare India, right? But 1,500 in Sri Lanka is a huge number, right? And we are doing very well. We have our R&D center is in Sri Lanka. So this is some of the misconceptions that the people have, right? They think large numbers. No, we don't want large numbers. It's good to have large numbers, but we want to go to a realistic model. So if we do this, we will become a first world from a third world. So I think this is very possible because we want to keep the talent in Sri Lanka. A lot of, like in India, not same as, not you don't have that problem very much in India, but a lot of young people leave this country, and we don't want that. So what we are putting at the technoparks, we will be giving them a superb environment to work. these technoparks would have swimming pools, 3D cinemas, walking tracks, yoga, everything that a man wants would be inside these technoparks. And these 5 technoparks are very unique compared to anywhere in the world. Top companies would come. And, and also we need to develop the whole ecosystem around this. So many private sector companies have already become our collaborative partners. We have got the money, fortunately. We have got the land from the government, and we have started 2. And one of the technoparks is at the roof level. We want to start operations by about October. So these would enable, make sure that our young boys and girls stays back in this country. We want them to stay. Not only that, we want our boys and girls who went out to come back to Sri Lanka, just like in India. I know Indians, they come back to your country, right? And so likewise, we want to ensure that this is a very beautiful country in the world. We are combining all this with the natural. I'm working with the tourism industry. So these are things that we have sort of synergized between tourism, us, and we are very good in Ayurveda treatment and Ayurveda, remedies. So these are, of course, you all in India also very strong. So we want to sort of integrate these factors into one, and then bring the foreign companies, and they would stay in this country. And it's going to be one of the key areas that I'm sure would really prosper in this country.
Wonderful insights coming from Mr. De Silva, and I really want to thank you, and I can't thank you enough for your presence today, for your extremely insightful remarks. And we really hope that Sri Lanka emerges as one of the most modern countries. Just one more request, Mr. De Silva, if you could say a few lines about our summit.
Yeah, this summit, I mean, I'm very grateful to you. The biggest challenge that we have ever faced was actually in ensuring that people get to know what we are doing. But of course, there should be a place or a space for us to say and recognize where people respect your organization. People respect what we say through you. So we are actually indebted to what you are doing. And I would kindly ask you to make sure that when we have completed some of these projects or halfway, that you discuss with us again, because most of the projects, especially in anywhere in the world in public sector, sometimes it does not materialize. We want to prove, and we want to prove with you in your audience once we have completed this, so that we can prove and showcase this through y'all. It is a wonderful opportunity, and I really thank you for all this wonderful help and wonderful opportunity that you have extended to us.
Thanks a lot, Mr. De Silva. It was a really wonderful interaction with you, and we promise that we will come back to you again and again for more insights, more information, and really bring your initiatives to the people of Sri Lanka as well as to people across the world.
Just one thing, what I really respect of Indians, I mean, especially, it's nothing to do with your forum, how they actually manage, because we, as a company, this out of this discussion, IFS where I work, Indian operations also comes under me, and I used to with pleasure see the young boys and girls, how they actually confront these top companies in the world, how they interact with them, and how they act so maturedly. And I was always respecting them. And I used to come and tell our people, wonderfully well that you all actually how it has been done. It's actually a huge lesson for all of us. and we get an encouragement, because if India can do 1 billion cards, right? For us to do 20 million is nothing, right? So we have followed a lot in this Aadhaar project, and we have been very fortunate. Your Prime Minister himself, I had the opportunity to discuss with him, and he has helped us. At the very first interview, he offered us a total grant to do this. So actually, we are going through MOSIP. You may be knowing MOSIP, which actually the MOSIP framework we are adapting, and we have been helped by a lot of expertise, and it is fully funded by the Indian government, and we are really indebted to you all, because the moment actually I explained to MOSIP about our project, as well as my experience, they said, then we don't, I know I'm 100% sure you can handle it alone, because I've been involved in one of these projects earlier. But actually, in spite of that, the help that the Indian government is giving us in many other, I really, really value it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It has been an absolute pleasure interacting with you, Mr. De Silva.
Thank you, and all the very best.